Now then, welcome to episode 1 of the Lift, Laugh and Life podcast, brought to you by yours truly. Now, obviously, I found out that I needed to do an introductory episode to get the podcast moving and to get something out there. So sadly, unfortunately, you've just got me today. But this is a project that I've wanted to do for a while. I'm going to have hopefully some guests that are going to be sick, that you are going to love as much as me. I've wanted to pretty much talk about everything that, if you've followed me on Instagram for a while, you probably know that I'm into the fitness industry, and I'm going to talk about like how I've got here, how I've got at this point, Instagram, life, business, lifting, like training, fitness, all of those things. And the guests that I bring on are hopefully going to bring something to the table in that aspect as well. So welcome to episode 1. A little bit sort of about me. I'm not even gonna lie, I've got this little notes page because for once, I mean, you've been on TV in front of 80 million people or whatever it was, but I'm more nervous of me and Joe sitting in my little side room trying to kick off a podcast. But anyway, I've got some prompts. There's a topic that I want to talk about today, but first of all, let's talk about how I got here, why you should even listen. I have been a personal trainer since the age of 18. I've not really had any other job apart from a little couple of working in a shop in town or working behind the bar, all those things when you do when you're younger. Opened a gym almost 4 years ago, which is a little bit of a combination of functional bodybuilding, strength training and CrossFit. I wouldn't actually say it was CrossFit. If you had asked me, I would say it's more functional fitness, and I know some people are going to jump on the bandwagon and freak out that I've even called that. Yes, I know the rules. You're not allowed to. I have trained thousands of people, both in the gym and online, over the last sort of 7 years. And pretty much, obviously, let's not beat around the bush. I've been on Love Island. So that was one thing that gave me a bit of an overnight influx of followers. And you might be here through one of them avenues. So whatever it is, first of all, welcome to the podcast. I'm very excited to kick this off. Guests that you can sort of expect are anything to do with what you probably already know that I'm interested in. So hopefully I will have some good friends on that have experienced that sort of TV influencer lifestyle, moving into like being maybe a different aspect of my life now, like turning 26. I'm a little bit more grown up. I'm not doing the stupid stuff that I was 4 years ago, like going out and getting bladdered and stuff like that, and almost like giving into the stereotype of like post Love Island drama. So we'll probably talk about that. Obviously people in the fitness industry. I have one very big CrossFit guest that I'm absolutely buzzing with because I'm a big fan. I'm not going to even give you any hints, but I'm a huge fan. So if I manage to get that one's going to be insane. So there's going to be a lot of that. A lot of people in the bodybuilding fitness industry that I appreciate, that I like. Mr. TM Cycles will hopefully come on. There's a little hint. I'll give you that one. And there's going to be loads of people. Okay, I'm very motivated by business stuff and I like some cool people. I've hopefully got some friends on Instagram that I can tap into and hopefully share some experiences with you. So anyway, that is it. That is what the podcast sort of theme is going to be. Life, training, business, and just some laughs along the way, hopefully. So with that being said, let's crack on with episode 1. Now, episode 1, what I wanted to talk about was something that has been mentioned to me in the past few weeks, and I've noticed, especially in January, okay, it's just been January, everyone's starting the gym, everyone's starting their fitness experience, and I want to tell you a little bit about my experiences over the last few years and how it has changed. Now, we're going to talk about a topic which body dysmorphia, body confidence, what I think can be the ugly side of the fitness industry. Now, when I was first starting my fitness sort of journey, and I'm going to go back in time, and I've spoken about this on ITV1 and stuff like that, on morning shows and stuff before, I had a little bit of body dysmorphia. I was definitely not body confident, and we're going to go all the way back to when I was in school. Got a little bit of a rough time for being overweight. Now, I do not want to, like, every time I've spoken about this on a morning talk show or something like that, they butter it up, they make it dead dramatic, like the X Factor, give you a sob story. Right. if you are overweight, you get picked on for being overweight. If you wear glasses, you get picked on for wearing glasses. The bullies in school know exactly what to do. So I'm not going to give you some bullshit story about, oh, let's feel sorry for me, listen to our podcast, right? That happened, whatever. So obviously, that was something in my head that stuck. And I definitely think it has given me the motivation for everything that I've sort of started and everything that I've done today. But the reason I started training was essentially just to look a little bit better. I wasn't too happy with my physique. I wasn't too happy with the way I looked. I'm going back to like being 15, 16 and 17 here. And the massive change for me was the year between 17 and 18. But that's kind of what I want to talk about. Now, my motivation there and the motivation for a lot of people was completely aesthetic based. It was completely, all I want to do is lose weight. All I want to do is look a little bit better. And telling a 17-year-old kid sort of who is uneducated, and obviously as this went on, as I was getting to 18 years old, I started trying to do my PT qualifications, and I probably didn't coach fully until I was 19. But those 2-year periods were a really crazy time for me, and the motivation was just to look good. And this is exactly what I see a lot right now. And I got a message the other day basically being like, it's first of all, it's mad to see how you've changed from being like so focused on, you know, like bodybuilding and like aesthetics. And I used to do all these check-ins where, to be honest, I used to take selfie after selfie after selfie and pretty much like rip myself apart in terms of like, oh, I'm not lean enough yet, I'm not big enough yet, I don't have big enough biceps, I don't have this, I don't have that. Whereas the place that I'm in now, I would say I have a lot more of a happy medium and a happy mentality. And right now, I feel really fit. I feel like I can run. I feel like I can lift relatively heavy. I'm by no means my strongest. I've been stronger. I'm by no means my leanest. I've been leaner. But like I'm in that balance where like everything in my life is benefiting, and I'm doing things like this podcast, because I've found that sort of happy medium. And this is something that I wanted to talk about. So I think for a lot of people, you can. And don't get us wrong, I still want to look good. I still want to look great. And that is one of my motivations. But talking about that experience, when you first start the gym and you're uneducated and stuff like that, and things that we see all the time are people being on super low calories, people not even tracking calories, people doing no carb diets, people doing these extreme diets to try and obviously get the outcome that they want. And I think this can often not be the healthiest thing. And this is when I had my I'm doing it. Obviously, if you listen to the podcast and you're not watching the video here, I've got the lights almost on top of my head. I'm doing the little, the bunny ears. So when I had my ping moment and I knew this is definitely not the way forward, was basically I further down the line obviously was training a lot, was into sort of the bodybuilding split, had a bodybuilding program set by someone else. I was walking on a treadmill every single day in the morning for like 45 minutes, getting up at like 5 a.m. doing that, and then lifting weights on a night. And I was like gradually for like 16 to 20 weeks restricting my calories until it got to the point where like honestly there was a time period when I was about 21 years old, and I'm going to put the photo here, where like I looked amazing. Like I looked, hands down, this is like the best physique that I would say, the most shredded I've ever been. But at that point I remember, and this is one little experience that I had, I was standing in a shopping mall, had to take my little sister, had to basically drive her somewhere, and I was like, I'm gonna faint when I drive this car, and I have a kid in the car, and that is not okay. Another couple of things that happened was like I was walking on the treadmill in the gym doing that 45 minutes cardio, and I remember like obviously as you do, looking to the side, looking at the treadmill next to you, and there's some sort of 60-year-old woman who was like absolutely pacing me on the treadmill, and I was thinking, I do not even have the energy, I do not even have the food in me to even try and attempt to keep going. So that was the sort of first segment of me, first initial thoughts of me being like, there's got to be a better way for this. There's got to be some sort of like I'm not a professional bodybuilder, I just want to look good, and I am actually struggling to keep up with a 60-year-old someone's grandma on the treadmill walking along. Now the next thing what was happening with this was a little bit of, so in between this time period I was going from one gym where I was personal training at, where I was paying rent, to another gym, and coincidentally the other gym was a CrossFit gym. So met this guy, basically was like, obviously I was very strong at this time in terms of like my deadlifts was flying, like squats and bench press and all that, but like I would not get my heart rate above 60 beats per minute. Like it was never ever going to happen. And someone, like, I used to laugh at CrossFit. I used to take the piss out of CrossFit. And I don't want you to think now that I'm ramming CrossFit down your head, but what I want you to understand is a little bit of conditioning can sort of be healthy. Anyway, going off on a tangent. Went into this CrossFit gym. I was obviously maybe 2 weeks after this sort of like, I did a men's health photo shoot and I looked really good, looked the best ever, but I couldn't even do anything. Now I went in this CrossFit gym, saw this dude, and I was like, yeah, he looks pretty much the same body fat as me, maybe a tiny bit more. Looks pretty much as big as me, has the same amount as muscle, if not more. He's definitely stronger than me because I saw him in the corner by himself, not even like really breaking a sweat, like snatching some sort of ridiculous weight, like 120 kilos. And then we started doing a workout together. We did the CrossFit class of the day, and he absolutely wrote me off. And he didn't write me off. We're in the class. There must have been about 9 people. I'll never forget this experience. My first workout, it was like toes to bar, which is basically like a kip and leg raise with a little bit of momentum. Power cleans at 80 kilos for men, I want to say, and something for women. And I was obviously Billy Big Bollocks, and I went in, yeah, I'll just do 100 kilos because obviously I had a stupid deadlift at that time. No technique. I was pretty much deadlifting it, high pulling it like an upright row, and then reverse bicep curling it. It was horrendous, and I'm pretty sure my shoulders were fried after that. And then it was a 400 meter run, and it was like 3 rounds for time or 4 rounds for time. Anyway, first round, banged it out, absolutely smashed the very living daylights out of that power clean. Probably turned a couple of heads, but my technique was absolutely shocking. Got onto the run, 50 meters down the road. First of all, Julie, Karen, whatever they are, probably not the names, were flying. They took me over, and then once we got back in, and it was this toes to bar, this movement, the technique they had was absolutely outstanding, and they were flying. Like, I think it took me like maybe 3 minutes to do 15 toes to bar, and just for context, that probably takes me about 30 seconds now. And that was my first experience, and I was like, I look the way I do. I can't even run 400 meters. I can lift a lot. I'm almost passing out during this class because I have such restricted calories. I've not ate carbs for like 60 days. And I was thinking, there's got to be a better experience. There's got to be a better way, a better structure. This is not fitness, okay? And this is what I want to talk about in this sort of podcast. I was so obsessed with the way I looked, and that had taken over so much that I was like, I'm a 20-year-old male who people are looking to for fitness motivation, and I can't even run 500 meters. I mean, what happens if someone comes down the street and chases me? I'm not getting far. So this was like my first transition into moving and starting to introduce things. And I started attending that CrossFit gym for a little bit. Obviously I was working there, and like maybe I would do my normal bodybuilding split because I didn't want to give that up because I still loved it. You know, push on a Monday, pull on a Tuesday, legs on a Wednesday. But I started like adding in 2 CrossFit classes a week, and then I added 3 CrossFit classes a week. And then what I started doing is I started mixing and matching, and this is kind of what I do now with a lot of people who are in this mind frame, in this mindset. Sort of like tweaking little things, so like doing a bench press, doing a few rows, and then maybe putting a row machine in as well, so you're still hitting the same muscle groups but still, you know, doing that thing. So one of the things that I find when people are coming into sculpting, the reason we get people to hang on for a little bit longer and perhaps make people a little bit more healthier in terms of their mindset is you need to have a physical goal as well as a physique goal. Okay, do I still want to look good right now? Absolutely. I want to look good. I want to be lean. I want to be strong. I want to have a big chest just like every other lad there, and vice versa goes for girls. Glutes, you want to work them. But you can do that and still do a little bit of fitness and feel amazing, and it's probably going to put you in a better state for the rest of the year. You're probably going to, you know, be able to stay lean year round and actually have some sort of fitness, because think about what you do in life, right? If you listen to this and you have kids, you want to be able to run around with the kids. I could not do that at that point. It was such an extreme goal to just look better, that it was actually more unhealthy. I couldn't even chase the dogs. So yeah, that was where I was at. So what I wanted to speak about here was actually what I think is a healthier option for people to do. And one of the things, the reason we have such good success in Sculpt, when I get people to write things down, I say pick 3 sort of physical goals. I want to get a bigger chest. I want to get abs for the first time in my life. I want to get leaner. I want to get taller. That one doesn't work. And the second one is trying to pick physical goals. So we normally do tests sort of like every 6 to 8 weeks, and you can do this, like, you don't have to do one of our programs. I'm not trying to sell you this. Do something, okay? If you know right now you can do 6 push-ups, try and get 12 in 6 weeks. Try and, if you know you can deadlift 100 kilos, I want you to aim for 110 kilos in 6 weeks. Whatever it is relating to you, that is the sort of thing that I think is much healthier. Now, I put a little bit of a prompt on my phone here, and we're talking about body dysmorphia, and let's talk about nutrition. Obviously, I am not qualified in people with eating disorders, but I just have a vast experience over the last 7 years of seeing people in the gym, seeing how food can affect people, and how tracking calories and tracking macros and stuff like that. And I don't want to even say that I'm forcing you to do this, but I just want to tell you about my experience, and we're talking about body dysmorphia here. Now, like I was saying earlier, go back to that kid who was 16, 17 years old, got taken to the gym for his first time because he said he was feeling crap at school. I remember one of my best friends, he took me to the gym and was like, come on, we'll start together. And this is where the sort of vicious cycle, because I have a very addictive personality, started kicking in. Okay, I'm sure if you follow me on Instagram, you know I'm training all the time. I am addicted to training. Like, I will hold my hands up and say that, but not anymore because of aesthetics. It's because, like, I want to get better, I want to feel fitter. Business, like, I'm obsessed with Sculpt, and that's fine. Like, it's okay to not have that balance with certain things. But anyway, body dysmorphia. Now, I actually don't know if I did have an eating disorder or not, but I want to tell you about, like, one experience that definitely sticks in my head, and something that went on for about 4 to 5 months of my life. So essentially, starting the gym, not really educated. I'd never heard about calories. I'd never heard about macros. The only thing that I heard about from bodybuilding sort of magazines was, what the best thing to do, and you've got to think this is probably like 2013 here, 2012, 2013, was do no carbs, you'll get shredded. Okay, so you take a kid who at 16, 17, obviously I don't hold the muscle mass that I have now, but I was probably still hitting on 6'3", 6'4", and do no carbs. So what do? I go down the kitchen, ask mom, ask dad, everything you buy can you just buy as white fish and green beans? And I'll do this as much as I can before I crash. And what I want to speak about is, every now and then there would be a time where I was obviously super run down because I was training like twice a day. I was a young kid. I was playing for a rugby team, which I was playing second row. If anyone's ever played second row, you need to be pretty big and pretty strong for that. So I was exerting a lot of energy. I was still at school. I was going out with girls for the first time and like trying to like doss about and do stuff like that. I was probably going out and trying to drink for the first time as well on top of that, which probably saved us a little bit because I got a few calories from there. But I'm trying to do no carbs, and I'm probably on about 1,700 calories a day at 6'4" and probably still 85, 90 kilos, let's say that. I don't know if that's a specific weight, but anyway, we'll leave it there. I just remember this one experience where I was in an Italian restaurant, and it was getting on top of me. I was crashing. I was with my dad, and we basically went for some food, and it was like the floodgates had opened. It was, something happened in my head. He was like, just have something. You look really tired. You look really done in. And I was right. That was so right. It was so correct. I was so run down. I had no calories in my body. And I honestly must have ate a full garlic bread with cheese, a full pizza, a full pasta dish, chips on the side, garlic mayonnaise, potato skins, you name it. Anyway, what happened? I went straight to the toilet and I was sick all over. Now, what happened after this was, it wasn't in fact that I was making myself sick, as in like hands down the throat making myself sick, but every, I would say 10 days to 12 days, this would happen again. and this would happen again. And like I said, I'm not an expert, and there's going to be some expert that gets sent this and they probably know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'm in a much better place now. I'm so good with all that. I'm going to tell you how I sort of got to that point after. But 16 to 18 years old when I did that big transformation, and when I would say I still managed, believe it or not, I still managed to gain a lot of muscle in that and drop body fat, believe it or not, but I was doing it in horrific ways which I didn't really know. The next time I had a burger, had 2 burgers, couldn't stop myself eating because I was on such restricted calories that when that one thing went in my mouth, when I had that one sugar rush, it was like full tubs of Ben and Jerry's, it was like 3 burgers, it was 3 fries, and then I was sick all over again. Now, I wasn't, like I say, like bulimia, making myself, but there's got to be some sort of problem there where you have such a bad relationship with food, you are uncontrollably eating to the point where you are making yourself sick. And this is crazy because at the time of this, obviously I wasn't really educated in terms of, I'd never heard about tracking calories, I'd never heard about tracking macros, and I'd never had any real good advice apart from, went up with a big dude in the gym and I said, what did you do to like get lean? When he got lean, he said, I ate no carbs. So straight away take that as gospel because he's the biggest person in the gym and he's probably full of steroids as well. Anyway, so you are taking advice from someone who is probably uneducated, but by default gets in great shape because they're a workhorse and they're the big dude in the gym and because he said so. And this is the sort of ugly side of fitness. And this is what a lot of people are listening to when they see people on Instagram. I know James Smith absolutely doesn't probably hate the guy personally, but hates the way there's this one dude who always pops up on Instagram story ads and he talks about like doing no carbs and how he like does this keto shreds and all this. I can't remember the guy's name. Absolutely horrendous. You will have seen it. It's like a 15-second story. It's obviously targeted towards, if you Google search like how to get shredded or how to get lean, goes on about these keto diets and it is absolutely horrendous. But anyway, that was me. This was me as well. Anyway, in the meantime of this process, I'm still sort of like getting clients, and a lucky thing, by the time I got through that 2-year period of like sort of binge eating, super low restrictive calories, like I'm a big male, like I'm a big like heavy individual. Just by like, if you've met me in person, you probably know that like my normal sort of sitting weight without trying is like 100 kilos plus. Okay, so being on 1700 calories, once I started adding up to the first time, only eating 4 meals of like white fish and green beans every single day is not okay. Uneducated. But luckily enough, by the time I got to 18 and a half, just before my 19th birthday, and started PTing at the gym group, I was lucky enough to be educated enough because someone introduced me and started sending me videos to IIFYM, which is If It Fits Your Macros. And I started obviously going on here and I put my body weight in the calculator to try and work out my calorie maintenance. And then I started learning about total daily energy expenditure. Started learning about like what calories I actually should be on for my body weight, for my age. Bear in mind I'm 19 and I'm like a maniac training here. And then everything started to like fall into place. And I'm not saying that you should absolutely track calories and you should absolutely track macros, because I think some people it can have a bad little relationship with, but I actually think it saved me in the sense of it had a positive effect on me, because I was going from that young kid that got told eat no carbs, that had to be super restricted, that was looking at a bodybuilding prep diet because it was from a bodybuilding prep diet out of a magazine, even though they were on probably all the anabolic steroids in the world to maintain their muscle mass. And I looked horrendous. Like I was sort of like that skinny fat syndrome where you are training really hard, and I was losing weight, but I was also losing all of my muscle mass. And to be honest, I don't even know how I kept up training that much. It must have just been pure motivation. So tracking kind of saved my life in the sense of it taught me straight away from that 1700 calorie dickhead to go straight up to 2,500. And suddenly what started happening is my training went through the roof, my mood went through the roof. I'm like a 19-year-old lad, and like obviously testosterone is high, luckily enough. But if I wasn't a 19-year-old lad and I was doing this at the age of 30, which some of you might be doing right now, you are not going to get it up. Okay, I guarantee if you have a girlfriend, right, and you are doing that to yourself, You are so tired. You are so fucked up. You have such little calories in your body. The last thing you are thinking about, you are dreaming about Ben and Jerry's. You're not dreaming about going into the bedroom and giving your missus a scene to, or vice versa. You are not going to be, if you're a girl and you're on that restrictive calories, you are not thinking about putting some saucy lingerie on if you're on 800 calories a day, okay? And that's a problem. That's a negative impact on your life. So tracking calories, tracking macros, it saved my life. But is it for everyone? Absolutely not. I think that moving further down the line, I think everybody should do it for a certain time period just to get an idea of what calories are in certain foods. You have a bag of rice on the table. We know rice changes when you cook it. You should just have a basic idea of how you can look at that and know ballpark what calories you are eating, and that's okay. However, when it gets to the point where someone is tracking calories and tracking macros and they feel like they can't, like obviously Nando's is a chain restaurant, they have macros and calories on there, but if you have a random chicken restaurant that's really cool, really funky in town, but it's brand new, it's a little independent restaurant, and you feel like you can't go there because you can't track calories and can't track macros, that's an issue, okay? You shouldn't ever have a negative impact on your life and start removing things that make you happy in life because you think you can't track. And that's when I say to clients, that's when I say to people, look, tracking is not for you. You just need to try and stick to these 5 rules, which is like eat more protein, eat more veggies, drink more water, try and like basic rules. And I'll try and give them basic rules dependent on their goals rather than just doing tracking calories and tracking macros, because they obviously have a little bit of a demon in their head and that's related to tracking calories. Even though tracking calories and tracking macros and finding out for the first time I don't need to do no carbs and carbs aren't the enemy saved my life, like tracking calories can have negative impacts on other people. I would definitely want guests in the future, if someone wants to come on and explain what that experience was that I was going through at that age, I would definitely be interested in that, because I'm sure there is an expert out there that is going to get involved and that is going to tell me more about, it's not quite bulimia because you're not physically making yourself sick, but it is X, Y, and Z. And I'm sure there's loads of different segments that branch off, and there's loads of different, I've obviously heard about the one where they're not making themselves sick, but for everything that goes in the body, like every calorie they consume, they try and burn it off. I've seen women when I was in a public gym, when I was in a commercial gym, I'm being stereotypical there, I said women, it's not, I just remember this one woman in my head who I saw every day for 3 years come on the treadmill for 2 hours, and she used to just get the calories up to the exact amount she ate and then walk out. So yeah, this one woman, I remember her specifically. I'm not saying it's women, men do it as well, okay? Before anyone comes on and says, I'm being sexist, I'm not. I'm just going from my personal experiences. Don't kill us on my first episode of my podcast. But yeah, so that is essentially what I wanted to talk about, the uglier side of the fitness industry. And one thing that I've just seen there, because I noted it down, quite a lot of people in the fitness industry that you are following on Instagram are really disappointing when you meet them in person, okay? Like really, really, really disappointing. Because I had overnight sort of success with Love Island, right? I used to watch these people on YouTube, and I used to, like, prior to Love Island, I started Sculpt, started my own personal training business. What do you watch? You watch motivational stuff by like your favorite YouTubers, and I still have favorite YouTubers now, and some of them, they look in person absolutely sublime. They look on Instagram absolutely sublime because they're angling the photos, they're picking the most shredded photos, they look huge, they look shredded, all of those things, right? And obviously after Love Island, everyone wanted to jump on the bandwagon. Everyone sort of wanted to meet myself, or like at least jump off the, like, have a collab on YouTube, stuff like that. And I remember like getting into, I'm thinking of certain individuals that I've met specifically. Some have been outstanding, and some have really been like, yeah, he is actually sick, she is actually sick. They are just as good in person. But there's other people that have preached certain things that I've probably listened to in the past when I was less educated, when I was that 18-year-old lad. And I met them in person, and I was thinking, like, it must be the editing on the photo, it must be the angles and stuff like that, because I've stood next to them, and it is not all it's piped up to be. It's not all it's piped up to be on Instagram. And that's not me trying to be a dick or saying anything like that. But you've got to think, like, I've firsthand been in a position where I've looked up to certain people, and then as soon as it's been 8 weeks later and I've gone on a TV show, I've been put in the same situation as them, put in the same category as them, being able to be lucky enough to meet all of them. And I've been sitting there thinking, you can't run a mile. You can't, like you're not as strong as what those videos on Instagram sort of seem like, because you must have just done one rep for Instagram, or you don't look as shredded as what you did on them pictures, and vice versa, and all of those things. But I don't want to go off on a negative sort of chat. If those people are inspiring people to train, that's amazing. But I definitely think that if you are sitting there and you're looking at people, and I've done it as well, by the way, like, if I take 100 photos, and Joe is over there sitting behind the camera trying to help us with this podcast right now, and if I take 100 photos with Joe, I'm picking the 5 that I look the best at, and that is fine. That's normal life. But also the thing that sort of like progresses onto that is then there's like a little bit of lighting, then there's like a little bit of editing, and then there's this, and then there's this, and everyone does it. So if you're sitting there and you're looking, don't take everybody's words on Instagram as gospel, and this goes for me as well. Okay, question everything. Someone said this to me a while ago, especially when it comes to fitness advice, training advice, life advice, whatever it is. Just because someone is on Instagram and has a few 100,000 followers, don't take everything they say by gospel. Question everything, do your own research, look into everything, because like me, like that young kid that was a bit naive, that didn't really have education in calories, in nutrition, in physical performance and training back in the day, not now, I listened to the big dude in the gym, and it put me in a very bad position where I was binging, starving, being sick, all of those things. And that's something that I definitely don't want any of my clients to do. Luckily enough, I would say that still I'm as hungry as ever in terms of, like, I read things every day. I read things about what I think would benefit my clients, and I try and personally develop myself every single day, which I want to obviously replicate, and I want to tell my clients. And I'm not for 1 second, like, I'm glad that I got a little rough time at school, because I don't think I would have done the gym if I didn't do that. And that was absolutely perfect, because it gave me the negative reinforcement, because I react well to that. It gave me that almost like fuck you drive to go and do everything that I've done. There is a reason why I've got the gym. There's a reason why I got the gym so young. The gym was open before Love Island, before anyone says that, and I'm sure there's quite a lot of people listening to this. It wasn't a Love Island thing. It was open for however long before that. There's a reason I got the gym. There's a reason I got so many clients. There's a reason I'm still pushing to get more clients now. And it is all down to me just having that fuck you attitude and wanting to prove everyone wrong. There is so many times I meet people on nights out from school now, and they're like, you were the last person, the last kid in school that we would think would have a fitness business and would be the person everyone sort of comes to now, looking for advice, or having 7 trainers in the gym working and doing body transformations. So that is something that I'm very proud of. But I just want to share my experiences and hopefully give you something on this first episode that was a really weird experience for me. That was, and I'm sure there's so many people, because I see people in the gym firsthand asking me the same questions as what I was asking, and luckily enough, the person that I like, hopefully I am a lot more educated, and there'll be new things that come out in a few years that are more accurate as well, but hopefully I'm a lot more educated to help them than what the people that I was asking for advice were. So I don't know, I think that is kind of episode 1. How long have I went for? 34 minutes. 34 minutes of chatting to myself. Imagine how good it's going to be when I've actually got a guest. I'm sweating. I hope you've enjoyed episode 1. I think that is everything that I wanted to talk about. So I'm just going to get out of the way of that microphone so I don't blow your ears off if you listen to this on audio. I hope you've enjoyed episode 1. Please share it with a friend if you're interested in anything. I'm pretty sure I've probably slipped up on that first one a million times. Obviously I had to get the first one out there. I hope you're interested. There will be loads of different sort of topics that we talk about, and I think that one was a little bit deep for the first one, but hopefully it helps a few people. And on episode 2 we will hopefully have a guest for you. So I'm very excited. I'm very pumped up. to talk about that. And apart from that, I will hear you, I will see you, you will hear me in the next episode. That is all for now. Have a great day, and yeah, just go kill it.